Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo,
man, and today we're going to be talking about Willow from 1988, and this is a crazy film right here, man. This was actually interesting film. It was one put out by Lucasfilm. The writers on this are George Lucas, Bob Dolman. It's directed by Ron Howard. We've got a pretty interesting cast too. I think at the time, some of these folks were still relative newcomers or just then hitting their stride in the movie world. But let me bring this cast up real quick. Val Kilmer was playing Mad Mardigan, one of our characters in this. We also got Joanne Wiley, who plays Sorsha, and Warwick Davis, who should be credited here first, plays Willow, who the movie is named after. Willow Ufgood. We also get Jean Marsh, Patricia Hayes, Billy Barty, Pat Roach, Gavin O'Hurley, David J. Steinberg, Phil Fondacaro, Tony Cox. Is he still alive? I think he passed away a while ago.
I think he did.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. You most probably remember him from yelling at Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa. I love it. He was so great, man. He was so great. And a bunch of other people, man. Like, what's interesting about this film? There is one other guy, Phil Fondacaro, also, man, very memorable.
Did you mention Kevin Pollak and Rick Overton?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah,
I got Rick Overton here, and Kevin Pollak, and a bunch of small people. Like, what's interesting about this film? It probably employed every small person who was working at the time.
They said this film it broke records for it. Had the largest casting for small people ever in any film.
Yeah, so that's crazy right there. So the plot goes: a warrior and a wizard in training save a baby princess from a queen sorcery in a mythic land. So essentially, the way this movie starts off, we've got a prophecy that says a child is going to be born, a female child is going to be born that's going to overthrow the evil sorceress. And
the way they'll know, she'll have some kind of like a birthmark. So pretty much the evil sorceress is anyone who's bearing a child, she's pulling them up and she's sending her troops out to go check the babies.
All right, off rip, man. That's kind of dark, yo. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, basically, in just going through all the pregnant women and having people squat on them. So as soon as the baby comes out, they're taking them or killing them.
Like, you don't even get to hold your babies.
But that's dark, man. There's some darkness in this film, and this thing is PG-13. I mean, PG. It's PG. Like, PG was different back then. I think they was getting away with a lot more stuff than they could now. And still get a PG rating.
Well, and that's the thing. Like this, as a youngin', this was one of my favorite adventure films, and the reason why is because of that level of darkness. Like when you put this next to like a film, like when you put this next to a film like Neverending Story, yes, it's still Neverending Story has some of those elements, but not heavy like this one. This one, like at times, it started to feel like, man, am I watching Willow or am I watching like Gladiator? You know what I'm saying?
There's some dark moments, man. But I mean, we've already gotten into it. So what do we like about this film, man? Like, I'm gonna say one thing that I really do like, though. I do like this setting, this medieval times, and I think that's cool how it's achieved, man. Like, I always love this kind of sword and sorcery stuff, and I remember this film being something that was on HBO a lot at that time, and I watched it like a lot of times, but I haven't really watched it since then. So it felt super fresh to me rewatching, but the detail that they put into this world and the environments and stuff, I thought that was amazing.
It's funny. I mean, we must be doing this show too much because great minds think alike. Because the first thing I was going to say is I applaud the world building. You know what I'm saying? So I'm right on track with you on that one. I mean, I feel like the setting and this world building that they have created in all of its various forms is what makes this adventure hit so hard. But then moving past that, it gives this great cast of characters a platform to stand on. I mean, when you think of just all of the characters throughout this film, I mean, you got Willow, who is your classic underdog, and I mean, not for nothing, and you can tell this is a Lucas film because in some kind of ways, it almost feels like the same story from Star Wars. A
little Luke Skywalker. He is a little
farmer, underdog, underling getting trained and stuff. But outside of that, I mean, this band of characters. I mean, Mad Mardigan is great. I mean,
he's your typical Lucas scoundrel. He's essentially a Han Solo type in a way.
Yes, yeah, and he's got like an Eminem heart. He's got the hard exterior, but he's a softie on the inside, and he starts to break through the shell. But then, when you move past that, like I said, Kevin Pollak and Roy Overton, that play the I guess they're called the Brownies, the very little people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They are great. You know what I'm saying? Their comic relief is just hilarious from start to finish, ever since we get introduced to them. But then I also really like what we get from what's his name? Billy Bartley, who plays like the High Elwyn. And I knew I couldn't put my finger on it. I had to look it up. But dude, he also played Gildar in the Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren. You know what I mean?
I definitely would not have picked that up. I think I've seen Masters of the Universe one time, and I kind of hated it.
Oh man,
it wasn't like my He-Man cartoon.
No, it wasn't like the cartoon. But for me, I was like, it's He-Man in real life, But they could have missed me with all the organ playing and all that stuff. I was like, this is not the story that I wanted to see. But nevertheless, like I said, and then even, with mentioning all of these good characters, we also get some really cool bad characters. I mean, the evil sorcerer witch lady. I mean,
Bavmorda.
Bavmorda.
Yeah, she's good.
she is the epitome of evil. But then her main goon, I guess is General. What is his name? General Klain or General Clark, something like that. My man that wears the skull mask.
Oh yeah.
He was really cool.
There's a lot of things going on because you also got the initial, basically it's Bavmorda's the limit because she's the only one who's in danger from this child being born. But also there's like other conflicts going on in the film. So then our heroes, it's an interesting thing because Willow at first, he finds the child. That was crazy, dude. Yes. Did you see the scene where the woman runs off with the child?
Yeah, the midwife. Like the mama's like, yo, you gotta save the baby.
The little dog things that that was crazy right there. I love how that was done though. Like the dog, it's like they took regular dogs and put makeup on them.
They were Rottweilers
in costume, and then they rush her, like after she puts the what's the baby's name?
Elora Danan.
Yeah. They put her. She puts her in the water, kind of like Moses, and floats her away at the last minute. And then the dogs jump on her. I was like, man, this is PG. Yeah, like, them dogs look like they jacked her up, man. But it looked good. Like that's one of the things too that stands out to me. Like that's where I think the Lucas touches in this film. And a lot of people, I think at the time, I don't think it was a commercial success initially when it was released in theaters. This is a $35 million film in 1988. Right. And that's kind of a big undertaking. And like you didn't see a budget like that unless it was a Star Wars film. But at the same time, I think Lucas film was Industrial Light and Magic. They were, learning a lot by making this film. It's a different kind of effects work that was going on than Star Wars was going. Like you see creatures talking, the mouth movements, and it looks flawless, yo. I'm looking at this. Even when I love at the end when he zaps the troll with the wand, and the troll turns into that. I remember watching that as a kid.
It's almost like throwing salt on a slug or something. Like he turns inside.
That used to gross me out. But when they come out, that's still stop motion animation. And it's some of the smoothest, best looking stop motion I've ever seen, dude. It looked better than what they did with the Rancor. Shout out to you, Rocky. Star Wars.
It's tripped out too because they said George Lucas hoped that this film would hit like E.T. in 1982, and it wasn't really a lot of competition. I mean, at that time in '88, it was battling up against Crocodile Dundee 2. The biggest film that I guess competitive wise was probably Big, Tom Hanks, and then you got Rambo 3. But this one did still gain a profit off of international filming or viewing, and then also television sales,
the VHS rentals.
You know what I mean?
But and I think also maybe 88. I don't know. I can't remember. Was pay-per-view a thing in 88? I feel like it was. You might could have.
I think it was, but that was like something that was seldom used in my house.
That's
something that you get your ass waxed. pay-per-view. It's a $40 movie. You kidding me?
There's no $40 movies like that. I don't think it was that bad, but that was like a Tyson fight back
or
in
UFC. That was when UFC was on pay-per-view.
Yeah, 88 though. 88 is still maybe a little bit too early. Maybe for the pay-per-view. I feel like that was more like early 90s, kind of thing.
And to your point, like you said, I love how this film starts. It gives us this, it shows us the level of importance with this baby, but then it segues us right into the simplicity of the Elwynds and Willow as being this underdog. I mean, we see what the dog did, or how the dog's damaged, an average sized person, or the what do they call them? Darkinis?
Yeah, they call the humans dark. There was a lot of low key racism.
There was a lot
in this film. Dog.
Yes.
And then they called the small people, they were called
pecks.
Pecks. Like what is that? Because you're pecking at my knees? Is
yes,
that what
it's a lot of stuff. I'm like, man, watching them, like, dude, this is insane.
Yo.
But nevertheless, it shows us how the Elwynds are living, and it's very this simple life. You know what I'm saying? They're all like farmers, Willow's aspiring to be a sorcerer. It's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A magician?
He put the work in. Like that was a powerful scene to me. That was one thing that I did like. That we see him in I guess he's at the town market and he's doing magic tricks, and then there's a scene where he walks up to like, I guess, an elder magician, and he's got to pick the right finger
or pick the apprentice. That was the High Elwyn.
Yeah,
and they said he hasn't picked an apprentice in God knows how long, and yet he says, where's the power lie to control the world? Which finger? You know what I'm saying? And each one of them have to pick a finger, and he's like, no. Off with you.
Yeah, there's like a no apprentice this year, meaning he's got to wait another year potentially to be picked again.
And then it's messed up too, because then there's the one leader of the Elwynds. His name's like, I want to say it's Burglecott. He's so mean to Willow. He comes right out the cut. He was like, "Where'd you get these seeds? I'm the one who sells these seeds." You know what I'm saying? You can't keep farming shit.
He's like the biggest. He's like the biggest little person.
He towers over Willow, dude.
He's like the shackle of little people.
What? He's dunking on everybody. But then, the crazy thing is like, you can tell how simple they're living, because just one of those dogs runs through that little village, and it wreaks havoc.
Yeah.
One dog.
They're small people, dude. They're like, they're essentially like hobbits to me. Watching this thing, they remind me so much of like Lord of the Rings hobbits.
Yes,
but they're also, got their own community. They exist in a world. They still have to interact with everyone else around them and do their thing. And that's interesting, because essentially they know this kid is not supposed to be here, but at the same time, they haven't heard about the Queen's hunt for this child, so they're just trying to get the child to another human so that it can be taken care of and raised. They just found this thing floating down the river, and that's where Willow's mission essentially starts. And I think that was cool, where his first inclination and him and his buddy is just all right, let's just get this kid and drop him off and then head back to the village.
The High Elder's like, yo, the first big person you see, give the baby to them. He was like, yo, that world ain't no place for no Elwynds. So, we live in this pocket area away from everyone for a reason.
And honestly, you see how small they are. Imagine you don't want to raise no normal-sized kid. That joint's gonna eat you out of house and home.
Just imagine. By the time it's hitting terrible twos, it's taller than them. It's like, let's get with it.
You can't control that.
How do you discipline? Stop breaking all the huts.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem, man. It's it's cool, man. But then I love it, man, because it does. It's just on the journey, man. It's kind of just an adventure, and things happen and craziness ensues, man. And everyone's good in this. I like Val Kilmer here too. That's another thing I like. He's great at playing the scoundrel. I haven't looked at his filmography to see other stuff, but 88 is kind of late, so I think he was still already a known name
Top
at
Gun
the time.
I think by this point,
Top Gun was out. Top Gun was like 86, I think, or 87. So so that was a big draw here, man. That's probably why he's listed, higher than than our other guy, than Warwick. You know, even though Warwick is the main guy, but that's supposedly was supposed to bring the draw in. And he does a good job playing this morally ambiguous character. First time we meet him, my man he's in jail for just screwing. Like he looks like he deserves to be there. Yes. The way he's portrayed, it's like, man,
but it's
we don't want to let this guy.
Like Willow accidentally backs into the cage. He yokes Willow up, right? And then you got Burgle cut like, hey, let's just give the baby to him. He's like, dude, he just L'd me out. I don't think we should give the baby to him. He's in a cage.
And they eventually do though, because they're just tired of. Even when that scene was going down, and he's convincing them, he's like, say, I know a lot of women that would. Yeah. I was like, I bet you do. I bet you do.
I'm telling you, my favorite part though is when he like Willow gets tired of his crap, and he's like, "Man, I'm a sorcerer. I got these acorns. If I throw this joint at you, I'm gonna turn you to stone." And like, Val Kilmer just turns into such a smart. He's like, "Oh no, as someone, there's a little person with an acorn and it's pointed right at me." Oh, he's such an asshole. He's so unlikably likable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. But eventually, I guess Willow's just wary of this, and his friend helps convince him, and they get a baby to him, and then the baby comes right back because it gets stolen.
It gets stolen. Yes, like an owl flies over him. Like he's talking to me, guys. He's like, "Yo, did we do the right thing?" He's like, "Yeah, they're gonna have medals for us." They're like, "Yo, we saved the village." And the next thing you know, you see the owl coming with the baby. He's like, "Yeah, we stole the baby." Woo! He's like, "Oh shit,
but
man."
See, I think that's cool about it, because I think that's what eventually could, because it's prophetic. It's a prophecy. So certain things are supposed to happen. Some kind of way, maybe some higher force or higher power is guiding this along, and essentially at that point it's like, no, you guys are supposed to have this child and you're supposed to get them through this journey and in typical adventure, fashion, things unfold, and the path is kind of laid out for them. It's not an easy path, and
it's also pivotal to the prophecy that all these specific people meet together and band together and form a united front to go attack the evil. Like, I mean, it just think if like if Willow wouldn't have crossed paths with Madmartigan, they wouldn't have won. You know what I'm saying? But then also, if the brownies would have never stole the baby, the baby from Madmartigan, Willow would have never known the importance of the baby in the first place. Because remember, that's when they have them all tied up like Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah, that was a good reference point. Like, Gulliver's Travels.
What? And then he sees the fairies. Or the high fairy or whatever, and she tells him the importance, but then also implores him to keep trying to be a magician. She's like, "Oh, you've got the magic in you. You just got to believe in yourself." Which that's like the third person who told him that along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I like it, man. But like I said, going back, like the effects too, I love that, man. Like the world, it looks good. Like even watching this thing, man. What are we like? 40 years ago, this thing came out almost, and it looks good, man. Like the lighting, the effects still hold up surprisingly, man. I'm watching this thing on my Disney Plus in HD, and it's almost seamless, man. There are some shots, some of the stuff with the brownies, it's a little, but for the time, it was just like, yo,
you can tell that when they're green screening, or like that part where they're in the, like, I guess it would be considered a car chase when they're riding the wagon and everything, and the soldiers are trying to jump on and take Madmartigan out from the back of the wagon. Like, you can tell it's green screen, but it still looks great. The dragon at the end looks really cool. You know what I mean? The effects, all the little magic stuff that's going on. I was a fan. It like you said, it still holds up now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but really great performances, really great cast. I love, just bring it back to Bavmorda. She's great, and she has a really awesome fight against Raziel as well. Because that's cool. Because Raziel, we find out, is another powerful sorcerer, but they've been turned into an animal. And I think this is a cool thing that plays out in that last, from the middle to the end of the film, and she's kind of being a mentor to Willow, forcing him, she has faith that he has the power to be able to convert her back to her original, more human form, and we get a couple scenes of that, man, and that's cool, man. And that scene where she starts off as this little look like a marsupial, I don't know, some kind of, I forgot the name of that animal,
field mouse or something.
Yeah, and then he ends up messing around, converts her into other forms, and eventually converts. I think she ends up as a goat for a little while.
Yeah.
And then eventually there's that really cool scene, I think that's dope, where he elevates his abilities and he also ends up converting her back to the human. I remember that being just a powerful moment of him concentrating and kind of just, rising above the village elders' expectations of him,
and his expectations of himself. Because at this point, like you said, like the last half an hour is nothing but battles. Like we get Matt Mardigan battling with the Skullface general. I mean, the good soldiers are trying to, overthrow the evil. We got Willow fighting the trolls. They had to take out the dragon. I mean, there was so much going on. But then once they stormed the evil castle, the witch in one swoop was just like, man, you know what? Y'all ain't nothing but some pigs, man. It turns them all into pigs. so pretty much Rizal was like, told Willow, yo, you gotta put a spell around yourself to cover yourself from what's about to happen. So the fate of the world was pretty much left up to the two of them. You know what I mean? And not for nothing, another thing that really hits heavy for this film is the music, the score.
Yeah, the score, the theme, man. Yes. Immediately when I heard it again, I was like, yeah.
Yes, I mean, it helps elevate this magical feeling that this film gives. It was composed by James Horner, so he did a great job all the way throughout, and it helps intensify these moments, what I'm saying, that we see that are already visually and aesthetically pleasing out the gate anyways.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's cool. I think that's a real hawk that's carrying that basket. And the scene with the Browns when they kidnapped the baby,
I wouldn't be surprised.
That was a real hawk, man.
People know how to train the birds and stuff. I'm sure there was somebody with the
put a little basket on it. Yeah, those elements definitely they still look good, man. You can tell the magic that's going on, but overall, man, like it's a fun film. I haven't really checked out any of the new series. I think the first 2 episodes appeared, but the original cast is back. I think even Kilmer is supposed to pop up in here too, man. So that's kind of crazy, man. That like I said, what is this, like 37 years?
And it's picking up from where this film left off, because initially they said that they were going to do a sequel series, an animated sequel series that was supposed to pick up where this left off, and they never gained no traction. And then George Lucas and then this dude, Chris Claremont, he was involved in writing.
That name, boy. He was probably did the best run of that X-Men wave, man. That's going into the early '90s wave. I think he killed it, dude.
He killed it.
Like, dude, I remember, like, them things are burned in my head, man.
Yes.
Like, I don't think he did. He came later. I'm thinking like maybe 89. I could be wrong with the dates, but I know definitely when I was in high school, it culminated with like issue 300, maybe 94 ish. When that thing just hit the peak, boom, and then I think
the animated series and everything.
And I think Jim Lee had his own spin-off series based off of that. But Chris Claremont did some of those best stories, man.
So Lucas and Claremont, they came up with this trilogy. It was called the Chronicles of the Shadow War, and it was pretty much 3 novels, installments that were supposed to follow after this film, but they also never really gained no traction. But then Lucas was stayed the same.
So he never wrote the books?
No, he wrote the books.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't really gain no traction
for the film. To get the film made.
To get the film made, or just really to add anything extra to the story.
But it's different now, man. Like people like it's that's one thing about streaming that is great, man. Now Disney has its own network, and they really right now is turned from ticket sales and viewers to subscription sales, and now that's a little different now, man, when you got this platform and you need to feed it. So now we can take something that might not have been viable for them, film wise, or to be able to sell to a TV network. We're like, let's put this out on our own network. We know this thing has a cult following. It's got a lot of fans, and people will tune in to check it out.
Yeah, man. Oh, another thing, Warwick Davis, man, was only 17 when he filmed this, man.
That's what I was thinking about when I thought about how he's coming back for this new one. I thought about. I was like, how old is he in this? I was thinking that like 20s or something. And dude, I would think he was like 25 or 27.
Dude, the little one that was playing his daughter, he was 12 years older than her.
Wow.
Like they say he had to take classes on how to take care of a baby.
Wow.
What is it? How to ride a horse, how to sword fight, how to perform magic. He had to take classes for all this stuff.
He's only 17, son. This is amazing thing that props to him.
To do that in such grand fashion.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
This is crazy to me. Yeah. That dude can act.
Yes, he can.
That's insane to me, man. Wow. Yeah, that's nuts, dude. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that stands out to me, man.
Only other thing that I read, I mean, we've already, we've talked about how awesome Val Kilmer was. They say he ad-libbed a lot of his dialogue and stuff. So this shit was not scripted. So it's like, dude, when you like he talk about getting into your role, like he really did that. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's one of my favorite characters in this. It has it all for being the style of film that it is. It's action, adventure, fantasy, a little bit of horror, a little light horror, but I'm saying something that if you're 5 or 6 years old, and you see this, like,
and that was my thing. 88, I was 10 years old, and some of it kind of got me. Like every time, like I said, that troll scene when that was kind of graphic to me.
On the bridge, and then then remember when Willow fell through the bridge and the dragon ate the troll.
Like even now when I look at it, like I was like, this is PG because then one of the little things grabs somebody and just eats them. I'm like, yo, they were letting things slide.
And then you get some lighthearted romance with Matt Mardigan and Saoirse and everything. You know what I'm saying? It all.
And like I said, man, that beginning was dark, man, because it kind of does the Lucasfilm thing, like Star Wars, where you get the quotes in the beginning,
story, just to let us know where we stand.
Like this is kind of some craziness, yo. The queen is killing people. The evil queen is killing people, killing babies.
Yeah, exactly.
Killing New York babies. Shout out to John. He's going to get that. But it was killing babies, man. Dang, that's wild, dude.
And then not for nothing, I remember when this first came out, it was Wendy's. If you went to Wendy's and they had 4 special cups, and I guess whenever you put like cold liquid in,
remember that.
And then I remember the one I had was like he was on the bridge, and then when you put the soda in there, the dragon would appear.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. I remember this for its the promotional tie-ins. Those were big. So it's kind of interesting how this film is kind of sitting on looking at the tomato meter, 53% from critics at the time. I think most of these reviews are going to date back to that era. Like old Ebert and all them. And the audience score is at 79%. So that means the people generally liked it. It has a cult following.
This is a fan favorite.
If there is a complaint I want to levy at it, it is a 2-hour-long film, and I think it could have trimmed a little bit of the fat, man. There are some scenes that I think they could have just skipped over, like some of the just some of the character scenes that don't really advance the plot at all, where they're just sitting back and lingering,
or elevate the characters. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. Yeah, like when we get strong character introductions, but then you're right. Like sometimes it does fall stagnant because it doesn't really do anything outside of waste time.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that probably was an issue, and then that's going to come into another issue with showing this on TV. 2-hour film, that's going to be tough to sell because at that time, you get films took up 2-hour blocks because you had the hour and a half and then maybe 25, 30 minutes of commercials. That's just how it was. And this was kind of breaking that mold. So it would be hard. That's why I was shown on HBO versus where I saw it most of the time versus showing on like my local Channel 5 or Channel 50 or Channel 20 or, So, but I still think it's enjoyable, man. And now it's got me curious to see, what the new series does, especially now where we've got much better special effects potential, and just better writing and storytelling.
Well, the fact that they're bringing back the original cast and they're not deviating from the story. I'm going when I get home after, maybe before the Raiders play at 4:25, I might try and get that first episode in just because now this film is now like burned in my brain after watching it multiple times this week. I mean, I already knew the film, but not the way I know it now. You know what I'm saying? bring off quotes and stuff. I was seeing it so many times this week, but you know, it does, I'm looking forward to see what the film brings. I mean, this series could have the same style of success that these Star Wars spin-off series are having, you know, just due to the subject matter.
And like I said, we've got a very rich world, but this film only really covered a narrow scope of it.
Yeah.
You know, so who knows, man? And they can do anything they want with it. I mean, our initial quest was simple. So now I'm like, okay, it's been years later. You know, what does the I keep forgetting her name, man. Eldoran or Eldora.
Elora Danan.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're saying that right either.
No, there's Elora Danan.
Okay,
it's like Elora Danan.
Okay, yeah. What is she doing now? She was supposed to be this one that's supposed to, you know, save this whole realm, and you know.
Like, yeah, is she doing her job right? You know what I'm saying? Did she misfire?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot can happen in 30 years. Maybe she went to school and decided to dive off the deep end. got into something not cool. You know, who knows?
What is Willow doing now these days? You know,
is he still sorcering? Did he break that stick? I mean, that was a little ass stick, dude. Like, did you sit on it? You know, who knows? A lot could happen.
There's a lot could happen, man. So I'm definitely going to start digging into that, man. You know, but I think we can wrap this up, man. I definitely enjoyed rewatching this.
Yes.
It holds up, and I just think it's a great thing that came out of the era, man. This is definitely a classic, man, and I think you should check it out if you haven't. And if you have seen it, watch it again, man. Give you a refresh review, man, and then maybe check out that Disney Plus series. You know,
definitely. I'm 100% in agreement with you. It still holds up by today's terms. Great fantasy. If you're around, if you're an 80s baby, you know, a little before, a little after, and you remember this or films like this, Never Ending Story, things of that nature, it still hits. And I would suggest, just because that the series is going to take place 30 years after this film, you can't go into the series without knowing, you know, what happened in this film and what brought these characters to life in the first place.
Yeah. All right, folks, man, I think we out of here. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Classics of Cinematics, man. I know we've been gone for a while, but I had an issue with the PC, man. It's broken, but now we fixed, so we back, man. So we back invigorated. Got a new zeal, a new boost of energy, you know, coming to this, going into the next year, man. But we back, folks, man. Check me out at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram as well.
It's Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me out on Instagram, Bobby Blockbuster 1810. You tell how much I use it. See, I almost forgot my damn name.
It's been a while, man. All right, folks, we're going to catch y'all next time. Peace.
All right.
Yeah, man.